on March. March 30th is Thursday. Yeah, well, Easter Day. Easter Sunday.
The All Saints Church, East Winch, in the county of Norfolk, is very important in the Howard family.
The story begins in a dull and windswept part of North Norfolk, at the hamlet of East Winch, a few miles from King's Lynn. A row of council cottages, the much-repaired, perpendicular Church of All Saints, and the moat of a vanished manor house mark the site of the original house of the Howards. Here are buried the founder of the family and several of his descendants. Along the Howard mortuary chapel, despite being re-roofed by the Collector Earl in the 17th century, later fell to ruin and was finally swept away by Sir Gilbert Scott during his restoration of the church in 1875. It is now commemorated only by a brass plate, but in the church there remains a 14th century font embellished with the Howard's arms. The proudest families are content, says Gibbon, to lose in the darkness of the Middle Ages the tree of their pedigree. This is certainly true of the Howards, those whose line cannot be traced further than the reign of Edward I in the 13th century. The first noble Howard ancestor was Sir William Howard of the East Winch, who became Chief Justice of the Common Pleas in 1297 and died in 1308. With him begins the game of political snakes and ladders, which by the end of the medieval period had raised his direct male descendant to the head of the peerage of England.
Very good. These would be the original seats.
The font in the East Winch Church was presented by the Lord Howard, which was involved in Effingham's defeat in the Spanish Armada. He was Sheriff of Norfolk and lived to a good old age. The exact date of death is not known, but he was still alive in 1388. The font in East Winch Church was presented by him or his son and bears his arms together with those of his wife Alice de Boy, another heiress who brought to the Howards the manor at Firstfield near Diss, and the only one which, despite every vicissitude, remained Howard property down to the modern times. The land there has been sold, but the manor remains in the possession of the President of Norfolk, the only material link with the pre-ducal Howard past.
And this is the Howard mortuary. Behind the organ we have a find all of a sudden in the church. Megan found it.
For the praise of God and to revive the memory of several members of the ancient and noble family of the Howards, once residents in this parish, this organ chamber is erected upon the site of their former mortuary chapel, wherein were buried Sir William Howard, Knight Chief Justice of the Common Pleas, died 1309. Robert Howard, the third son, Sir John Howard, 5th Knight, was buried there in 1483, created Duke of Norfolk. Premier Duke of England and his descendants since the reign of King Henry VIII have been hereditary Earls Marshal. AD 1875.
Earl Marshal, they still are the Earl Marshals of England, and that means on coronations and on big death funeral processions in England, it's always the Duke of Norfolk, the Howard family, that absolutely controls it. Megan, that was excellent. Good find, Megan.
The Howards had for some generations previous to the above date owned lands in the Wigan Halls, Middleton, East Walton, and elsewhere, and there are records in the church of their connection with this parish. It is from these Howards that the great ducal house of Norfolk sprang. The drawing by Weaver shows 3 sides of the present stone font and an equal number of the panels of its original covers. as viewed when standing in front of them and facing due west. In the absence of any further accounts, it is impossible to say how the other sides of the cover were treated. Nevertheless, the new cover does represent the treatment of the old one as far as 3 panels are concerned. If the cover be set upon the font so as to have its painted Howard shield exactly above the stone-carved Howard shield of the font, we shall be able to view both font and cover from that one standpoint, much as our ancestors saw when it was first dedicated. Thus, the cherished desire of the late vicar will be fulfilled.
The entry 3689 or 630-89 Norfolk, Arundel Castle, Sussex.
There we go, there we go.
And by the sign.